For our rocking, we're gonna open up our hips, we're gonna get our big toes into the ground, and we're just gonna have our hands kind of right under our forehead. We're just gonna kind of rock those hips back, and we're just gonna gently come forward, rock them back, come forward. Just these little gentle rocks back and forth. Now we can take our head and do some head nodding. So we're gonna kind of look down, look up, rock back and do the same thing. Look down, look up, so you can think yes and you're saying yes, and then we can go to a no, where we turn our head and look to our right shoulder, look to our left shoulder. We can rock back and do the same thing. And then we can tilt our head side to side. So take our left ear to our left shoulder and right. And then we can take our eyes and try to look back to our foot. Throw a little rock in there. And then we'll take our arm and we're gonna reach under like we're giving ourselves a hug. Ear towards the floor. And then come up. And we're gonna keep switching sides. Ear to the floor, reach that arm long. Then we're gonna go into a bird dog. So bird dog is nose over your fingertips, knees under your hips. We wanna be active through the shoulders, so we're not just hanging out there, we're actually pushing the floor away. I like to have my elbows kind of unlocked so I feel a little bit of triceps working. So from here, what I wanna do is be as stable as I can. I'm gonna drag my fingertips and toes, try not to let the rest of my body move. As my fingertips and toes get light and I can't keep them on the floor anymore, I'm gonna reach my thumb up to the ceiling and I'm gonna reach my heel to the wall behind me. Like this, I'm thinking about reaching this pinky long. I'm gonna exhale fully. I'll take a breath in at the top. And then I'm gonna come back down, gently put my feet on, my knee and my hand on the floor, and reset and do the other side. Drag the fingertips and toes as I exhale fully. Pause, take a breath in. We're gonna go into this 90-90 position, so our knee is right by our heel. I'm gonna take my hands, put them in line with my femur on this leg. So I'm parallel with that leg. I'm getting a good stretch through this outer hip right now. So if this is my left knee, I'm gonna take my right hand and stick it under my left hand. So I'm trapping it under my left hand, and I'm gonna take my right shoulder down by my left knee. And then come up, I'm gonna flip-flop my knees, put my hands in line with my femur on the other side. Now I'm gonna take my left hand and stick it under my right hand, drop my left shoulder to the floor, or as much as you can. You should feel a nice stretch through your upper back as you do that. And we'll just continue to flip-flop from side to side. And drop that hand, trap it under the other hand, drop that shoulder. We're gonna do some happy baby stretching. So what we're gonna do is put our hands in between our legs and grab a hold of our feet. And kind of grab the outside of our feet right by our toes. And what we're gonna do is just kind of rock side to side to start with. We're just gonna go from one side to the other, turn your head, look the direction you wanna roll. Just from knee to knee, just gently. This is gonna feel nice on your low back. And then what we're gonna do is take our top leg and reach it across. We're gonna try to keep our hand on it. So you're kicking that leg straight, we're gonna bring it back, and then roll slowly over to the other side, and kick that leg as long as you can. Think about reaching your heel long. And then we can start adding a little bit more speed and do it a little more dynamically as you get stretched out. From this bear position, I can do a lot of different movements. We're gonna go into bear position, we're gonna do a kick through. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pick up my hand in my opposite foot, just like I was when I was doing my bird dogs, my bear dogs, and my crawling. And then from here, what I wanna do is pivot on this foot, from my ball of my foot to the heel, and I'm gonna drop my hip right under me like this. I have my shoulder away from my ear. I'm gonna take this leg and extend it out. I'm gonna reach this one back to kind of counterbalance me. And then I'm gonna kind of push through this foot and this hand. I'm gonna push myself right back into that bear, control it the entire way through. So pick up this hand and opposite foot, go from the ball to the heel, kick through, My toes are pointing the way I want to kick that foot. So my foot is in line with this foot. I'm reaching back. Then I'm gonna rock onto my back. And as I come up, I'm gonna lay one leg down and I'm gonna put my foot right in front of that other ankle. And I'm just gonna kind of gently push myself up and then right back down, rocking my back, switch sides. Just a little push up, right back down. And then this will get a little bit more dynamic as we go. We'll go a little bit further into that stretch on the front leg, onto that ankle. Try to keep you into a crawl. We're gonna pick up our hand and our opposite foot and knee, and then we're gonna do the other side. So right now we're just doing a crawl in place. We're learning how to alternate and try to keep our hips steady as we can. Imagine you have a cup of water on your low back and you don't wanna spill it off. And then we're gonna pick our hand and our foot up and our knee up and step them forward, and then our opposite hand and opposite knee will come up, and they always move forward. So almost like they're attached. They move forward and they move back together. So as I pick this hand up, this other knee and foot has to come up, and we're gonna step forward and backwards. We're just gonna go into play, or just a few steps forward and back. If you don't have much room, you can go in place just by that alternating position. Our bear position, we're gonna come up with our nose over our fingertips, knees are right under our hips, where our knees are just off of the floor, back is flat, we're not arched, we're not rounded. From here, what I wanna do, we're gonna rock back, we're gonna walk our hands back, find our heels to the floor. Now we're into our 8 position. We're trying to keep our chest up, our heels down, and we're gonna walk ourselves back to this bear position. Now if you couldn't get your heels down, we need to widen our stance out. So we're gonna widen it out, trying to get our heels to the ground, chest up, and find a position for your feet that allows you to do that. If not, you might need some shoes on. You might also need something to put under your heels, so you could even put a board back there to get your heels onto, and that will make this a little bit easier for you. So we're just gonna go back and forth from bear to ape. Now we're gonna put this all together. We're gonna go from bear to ape. We're gonna take one hand around. We're gonna go into a crab position. We're gonna take one foot and reach it forward, and then the other foot, reach it forward. We're gonna do that without rocking our hips side to side. And then I also like to do a high five. So reach my hand up, and then the other hand up without rocking side to side. And then we're gonna walk ourselves back to this ape position, and then right on back to our bear. Now from our bear, we're gonna pick up our hand and our opposite foot. Walk back into our ape position, try to get our chest up and our heels down, walk ourselves back into our crab, one foot, the other foot, hand goes high five on one side and then the other. And we're gonna progressively make this a little bit more difficult. So we're gonna walk ourselves out, bear position. If you can, we're gonna drag our fingertips and toes and reach out into our bear dog. And then on the other side, we're gonna walk ourselves back. Find our heels, chest up. We're gonna take one hand and reach to the sky. And we're gonna take our other hand and reach to the sky. Elbows are inside the knees the entire time, heels stay down. We're gonna walk back into our crab. Now we're gonna go hand and opposite foot, reach up at the same time. Hand and opposite foot, walk back to our bear, our ape, and then into our bear dog. To our ape, reach up to the sky, trying to rotate that chest over. Our squat is going to be taught a little bit different than other people teach us. Many times we've been told not to let our toes go, or our knees go over our toes, and that's not entirely correct. So what I like to do is feel my heels. So one way you can do this is feel your heels the entire time. If you come up and you start doing this, I'm not feeling my heels, I'm rolling to the ball of my foot. I have to be able to keep that whole heel on the ground as well as keeping those big toes on the ground. But I really want to feel that heel. So once I have that contact with the heel, what I want to do is think about pushing my knees forward. So I'm pushing my knees forward, that's going to start my movement. So rather than sitting back as your first movement like a hinge, our squat is going to feel the heel, push the knees forward, keeping contact with that heel as long as you can. So you're going to push those knees forward as far as you can while keeping contact. If you get to here and you start to lose contact, that's as far as you're going to push your knees forward. Push the ground away and stand back up tall. So same thing as our deadlift. We want to kind of keep our chest up this time, but we want to keep our ribs stacked on top of our pelvis. So no arching your back, trying to get more range of motion out of your squat. We're going to keep this all stacked. So my sternum stays that same distance from my belt line as I push those knees forward and feel the heels, and then push that ground away as I stand back up tall. We're going to do a hinge, so we're going to push our hips back. I want to see my shins stay pretty much vertical. I'm going to push my hips back like I'm pushing my butt to the wall. I'm going to keep a flat back. My ribs are in the same position. I don't arch, so I don't open the front of my body, and I don't close it into this rounded position. I'm going to stand back up, so I'm moving through my hips. Hips are pushing back as far as I can. My tailbone has to kind of rotate as I push my butt back, and then it's going to come under me when I stand up tall. Ribs are on top of my hips. Hips go back, so this is the hinge. Another way I like to teach it is to have hands by your ribs, and as I push my butt back to the wall behind me, my hands reach in front of me, and I do this big reach. So I think about butt behind me as far as I can, hands in front of me, and I push the floor away. So don't think about lifting your chest when you do a hinge or a deadlift. Think about getting into this position, good flat back, and then pushing the floor away with your feet. So I'm always driving the floor away. For our rotational arm swings, we're going to start off with our hands out to our sides, and we're going to let the arms fall down. One's going to go in front of us, one's going to pass behind us, and we're going to turn our eyes and watch the hand that went in front of us. And then we're going to go back up, we're going to drop them back down again. I'm going to turn my head the other way, switch the arms, and then I'm going to look, so my eyes are going like to that wall over there, and they go to that wall over there, but as I go longer and longer, I'm going to start to loosen up, and I'm going to turn my head just a little bit further each time. So I'm going to go from looking at the side, I'm going to start to look all the way to the back, and eventually I'll be able to see behind me as I loosen that upper trunk up. Now once you get used to that, you can add some weight to this. This is a great way to do it. Just add some like really light dumbbells, and we're going to hold them like this, so they're just kind of hanging down. Get a good grip on them so they don't go flying across the gym. But what you're going to do is do that same thing. They go out, and just let those arms fall, and start off with just like a small rocking motion. Turn your eyes, relax that body. You can even time your breath to do an exhale. As you reach out, you'll exhale, turn those eyes, and let that upper body just kind of relax into that. You'll feel the shoulders doing some work.